Hey guys, Bowie here, and this is Dealing with the Frog. This series is all about how to pick, itemize, and play against meta heroes. Today, we're talking Spirit Breaker. Spirit Breaker in the early game is basically a charge. This hero heavily relies on the skill to be able to do anything in the game, so one good way to counterpick Spirit Breaker is having a hero that has any form of low cast point stun or disable. When we're talking offlaners, Enigma, Clockwork, Batrider, and Sand King are good heroes to deal with it. In the mid lane, heroes like Puck or Quap that doesn't have an early game stun but can blink or phase shift charge, as well as heroes with a lot of sustain like Necrophus, Viper, Death Prophet, and Monkey King are good picks. If we're talking support, Tusk is a great save for both charge and Nether Strike. Oracle's Q not only cancels charge, but his W completely nullifies all the damage from the charge and ult combo since it deals magic damage. Visage is another great pick. Not only you take way less damage from the combo since it deals 2 damage instances, which means that the overall damage will be heavily reduced. Your birds can cancel charge or just be there to stop the ult. Carry wise, if you check Dota buff, you're going to see Naga and Morphling on top of the list, but I feel that it's dishonest to suggest those heroes since pretty much no one even plays them. There are not a lot of carriers that can disable charge, so usually it's advisable to get a tanky core like CK. Wraith King is also a good one since he can survive for enough time for your team to show up. He can also cancel charge if you have vision of him coming to you. CK can do it, but it's a little bit unreliable. Lone Druid is also a good one since he's ultra fast and has an AoE disable that can cancel charge or the ult if you time it correctly. Some heroes that can build Lincolns like Void and Weaver can be pretty good against SB2, but only if they are heroes that go for it very early. AM, for instance, can have a hard time against Spirit Breaker if he is against more than one source of disable, and then it doesn't matter that your hero can go Lincolns if you can't get past your Battle Fury. That being said though, remember that ultimately, Spirit Breaker is a support, and focusing on him too much can backfire. Try to get heroes that fit the game you're playing and that you're used to, but at the same time have some advantage, even if small, against him, since he is above 57% win rate in every MMR bracket right now. One of the big mistakes I see players doing, especially support ones, is building U-Scepter against Spirit Breaker. Yes, you can counter charge, but at what cost? You're spending 3k gold in an item that has an active that spends as much mana as the item gives you, only to counter a support hero. In my opinion, the best items against Spirit Breaker are Glimmer Cave because it can save you in case he has no dust, but also because it gives magic resistance, severely reducing his impact when he charges. You can also save allies and not only you, and another great item that, like Glimmer Cape, is great and cheap is Force Staff. A lot of people don't know this, but Force Staff in a charging Spirit Breaker cancels the skill, the same way Flame Break and Blinding Light also do. The item also has more uses besides countering Spirit Breaker. Atos is another decent option, even though it's more expensive. It actually has huge cast range and makes you tankier, so that's fine too. One of the first things to do if your team has a Spirit Breaker is trying to predict the charge direction and ward accordingly. A lot of Spirit Breakers try to get level 2 before they start their ganks, unless one lane is clearly very gankable. This means that he will charge from the enemy safe lane most of the time, because they will try to harass the offlaner a little bit, just stack, try to get level 2 with the stack. With one of these wards that even work well as offlane wards, you can spot a decent amount of charges, making it easier for all lanes to do well. When you're getting closer to the 4-minute mark, warding your safe lane and mid lane with wards that cover possible charges can be detrimental in completely shutting down Spirit Breaker. This hero is not that good if he's just in the lane farming or waiting to get experience. If you can slow his level progression, he is just a shadow of a space cow, allowing your team to farm uncontested. It's also advisable to keep an eye on every Spirit Breaker death, because that means that one lane will be charged for sure. In this crit replay, after killing DK with a nice charge, usually people use very predictable paths, and he used a pretty good one. He charged the safe lane most of the time. This won't yield anything, but trying to go aggressive right after Spirit Breaker died can backfire. Trying to maintain creep equilibrium towards your tower is also something that can break the chances of ganks happening, because this means that if your ally TPs to help you, he's gonna be very close to Spirit Breaker as soon as he gets there. Whereas if you were trying to hit the enemy tier 1 when Spirit Breaker was not showing, then you're gonna have to run a very big distance, and this is great for Spirit Breaker because he is usually faster than you, especially with Orb of Venom. One of the reasons this hero is so strong in pubs is that whenever Spirit Breaker gets a kill, regardless of that hero having TP on cooldown or not, this means that the dying hero is going to either walk from Fountain to a lane or commit a TP to a lane. Especially in low MR pubs, people rarely walk from Fountain to tower when they have TP ready. And this guarantees that Spirit Breaker can now fight in another lane, being confident that there's less help available to that lane. And this eventually becomes a snowball effect that keeps happening and happening, and when you see, you just lost the game. A good tip, if you have TP ready, is walking towards a lane so that you can assist against Spirit Breaker ganks if your hero is built for that. Well guys, this wraps up for today. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. You can find a lot of my extended videos on the link in the description. Pugna also just launched Oracle. It's kind of a Dota buff, but actually tailored to making you a better player. It compares you with your own MMR, other MMRs, and hopefully you can take a lot out of it.